Hello, guys. Welcome every Purple Haze podcast, everybody. So I'm your lovely host, Isaac. Before we get to the video, make sure you hit that like button and hit that subscribe button if you haven't. So right now, I wanted to get into some issues that are ongoing and still lingering as of right now, which is the offensive line. It's still a lingering issue. For some reason, it's still a lingering issue. Don't know why. But I just kind of wanted to go on a little bit of a talk about the offensive line and that we need to sign about why Risner is not signed with the... I want to know why Risner is not signing with the Vikings. Why is he not with the Vikings right now? Like, what are we waiting for? Okay. So basically, earlier this video, we also signed a tackle out from the Eagles practice squad. A tackle? We don't need a tackle. Like, what are we doing? Right now, I am just so confused at what the front office is doing. Like, what are we doing for the guard position? We, with already in shambles already in week 1, okay, but I understand that it's just the first week of preseason. But we still should, with how spotty the offensive line against the Seattle Seahawks, especially at guard position, Ed Ingram, because Dalton Risner can either replace Ed Ingram or Ezra Cleveland. I would much rather bench Ed Ingram because he is just bad. Ezra Cleveland is a little bit less, but Ed Ingram is just awful. He is basically the weakest link of the offensive line last year and so far this year. I would just like to see more progression. Like, okay, I get that Ed Ingram. Okay, last year, here's the thing. Last year, Ed Ingram was not good either. And then basically, I said maybe bench him for the season and then maybe give him a chance next year for 2023. Give him a chance. So then I did. In 2023, he's already looking like the same offensive line. He's not any better this year than he was last year. He's not any better. I'm just saying. So the fact that we haven't looked at or even considered getting Dalton Risner or some other guard that's worth holding up. I'm just so tired of seeing this. Like, I just do not know what we're doing. Like, what are we doing? We're signing all these players that we do not need, yet we can't sign Risner. We were able to sign a tackle. We signed a linebacker. We signed several wide receivers. We signed tight end Josh Oliver. We signed Byron Murphy in free agency. Dean Lowry and Marcus Davenport, both the forefront for free agent signing, and yet I still do not see a signing of Dalton Risner. You can't just add Risner in. What's the whole? Look, here's the deal. So they were able to do this let's go back to 22. In 22, we addressed backup quarterback situation because of how underwhelming this has been at the backup position. I want to know because they got Nick Mullins right off the couch and said, you are in. Because Sean Mannion and Kellen Mond last year in the preseason, they had underwhelming performances in the preseason, and Kwesi understood that, and then we got backup quarterbacks. Okay, with Ed Ingram, he is underperforming as well, and we show no desire or rush to sign Risner. We've had this in the past too as well. We've been seeing the same old song and dance from guard positions since since the Rick Spielman area. Go back to Rick Spielman. we've had plenty of offensive line issues that we were just too lazy to attend to. I mean, like Matt Khalil. We didn't get any replacements for Matt Khalil, so we're just, nah, Matt Khalil, he will do fine. And then throughout those years that he's played with the Vikings, he was horrible. He was awful. So I don't get, though, here's the thing. And also we're drafting players that we don't need. Like 2018. We're not experimenting. I'm not saying that, but we got somebody who is in Brian O'Neill. We drafted Brian O'Neill in 2018. And look at where that went. We moved Mike Remmers to right guard instead of his natural position was right tackle, and we moved him to guard. And what do you know? That was terrible. And I mean, Brian O'Neill, don't get me wrong. As far as I'm concerned, the most consistent that I've ever seen where Kirk Cousins can just chill was 2019. That's the most consistent offensive line play I have seen. I'm serious. The last 3 years have been terrible. It's been anemic. It's been bad. So basically okay. So here's the deal. Kirk Cousins, nobody is good under a bad offensive line. Nobody is. Nobody. Not even Tom Brady. Tom Brady in 2022. You've seen him under duress the whole game. I mean, if you're a Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan, but look at him. He was under duress under a bad offensive line, and he barely had any time to throw, and he was not the same. So, but if you have time, it translates on the field. They have time to make decisions, and they can complete a pass. Why don't we do that? And then, but when you're under pressure so many times, you're just making a quick decision too fast all the time, so you can't think. I just don't. Okay. I'm very frustrated. I really have no words right now. I'm trying to be as positive as I can. But here's the deal. Signing Risner right now will basically fix any problems. Because, okay, if any of the players progress, okay, if it's week 2 and week 3, if they do progress, okay, we can have Risner replace Ezra Cleveland then, if Ed Ingram is better. But if Ed Ingram is not better, you need to sign Dalton Risner just in case anyways. So, I don't understand why we're not just getting them. We need guards. Bottom line, because we saw against the Seattle Seahawks, oh man, it was so embarrassing. The second to last drive, they didn't even blitz. I look back, they didn't even blitz. They just did a 4-man rush, and Jaren Hall luckily minimized the damage to just 11 yards total on those 2 sacks. That is not okay to basically just be weak right there. So I don't really know what the Vikings are going to do. But it's really going to bite you in the butt in this season, because you are playing against better opponents. Like they have good front rushers. You got the Philadelphia Eagles. You got the San Francisco 49ers who have a good forefront. You got the Bengals who have a solid forefront. You have maybe the Kansas City Chiefs. And then you play the Packers twice who are physical up the forefront. And maybe the Bears. You have to play the Bears twice. They have a not too shabby defense. So what are the Vikings doing about it? Nothing now. I just don't get it. Like, I'm trying to just stay as positive as I can because, it's the start of the season. Oh my gosh, there are a lot of good things happening. There's a lot of good receivers that I can't wait to see. But I can't ignore this. I can't ignore the guard position because it is going to not end well for Cousins. It's a miracle that he didn't get killed back there in 22. We need to address the guard, because the last thing I want to see from the front office when that does happen is shock. Straight up. Bottom line, sign Risner. Also in other news, so basically I'll give a shout out to Mike Sports Vibes. Make sure you go check out his channel and subscribe to him. Anyways, so I basically, it was a live stream, you know. I was telling Mike was telling me, hey, maybe the Jets might sign Dalvin Cook maybe this offseason. I was like, nah, that ain't happening. So I'll give you a shout out to you, Mike Sports Vibes. Anyways, Dalvin Cook signed with the Jets for a 1-year, $8 million deal. Congratulations to Dalvin Cook. Congrats. Anyways, basically, just before I end the video, I just kind of want to give basically my favorite memory of Dalvin Cook for one quick second. I think my favorite thing about Dalvin Cook was, in my favorite games of him, back-to-back weeks in 2020, Week 8 and Week 9 against both division opponents, against the Packers. He scored 4 touchdowns, all of the touchdowns for the Vikings in that game. And then he ran over for 200 yards against the Detroit Lions. That is almost, I would say, a little under or over 400 yards total on both of those games. Dalvin Cook, he looked like the second coming of Adrian Peterson on those games. Primetime Adrian Peterson. But man, I wish the best of luck for Dalvin Cook. Good luck to him. So thank you guys so much for joining us. We will see you in the next video. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Peace out.